friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm Sarah, welcome. I hope you're all doing amazing, and today I have another bikini tutorial for you. Because as you probably saw in my previous video, and if you haven't watched this video, you should, especially if you are a sewing beginner or you never worked with swimwear fabrics before, make sure to check it out. I'll link it here and here. But as you saw in my previous video, I bought like a couple of swimwear fabrics at once, and today I'm using this beautiful red florally fabric. And I tried to make like a kind of a milkmaid vibey top with a little ruche effect and a tie in the front and crisscross back, and it turned out super cute. However, I had some problems during the process, so I will be totally transparent here. Yeah, I will show you in the video what went wrong and how I solved this. So if you're expecting a highly professional tutorial, you've come to the wrong place. It's not highly professional, and but I tried, and I thought I show it to you anyway, because I think sometimes, I mean, especially if you're not that experienced with sewing, this is the real shit here. So I hope anyways that you enjoy the tutorial, and if you have questions, if you want to recreate this, if you have questions, you can always comment down below, or you can DM me on my Instagram, and by the way, you should follow me and subscribe, and that would be amazing. And yeah, so now without further ado, I'd say let's do this tutorial and have fun. To create a pattern for my bottoms, I'm using the pattern actually I made in my previous video because it fit me very well, and it already included seam allowance, but of course you can just use any pair of bottoms you already own. Just keep in mind to add seam allowance, and then you can make any shape, you can create any shape you like, and this is what I'm doing here. I'm just shortening the sides of my bottoms, front and back, because I want to have these little ties on the sides of my bottoms. And yeah, of course, the pattern for the top is already updated and all mistakes have been erased. Since I haven't used a lining fabric, I had to cut out every piece 2 times, as you can see here. So I started by putting the back pieces and the front pieces of my bottoms right sides kissing, clipped everything in place and sewed all along the longer sides. After that, I went in and attached the side pieces to my front pieces, both for the front and the back. I'm here using my serger, but of course if you don't have a serger you can use your sewing machine and a regular zigzag stitch. However, you should use a super stretch needle and maybe a non-stick presser foot. After that, I took my top pieces right sides facing and started to sew everything together. I sewed everything together except for the V part. I wanted to sew this with my sewing machine because I feel I have more control with my sewing machine. And also I kept little openings on the on the top part of my top in the corner, so that we can later on sew a tunnel for our straps.
And yes, as I mentioned, I'm here sewing the V shape of my top with my sewing machine. And after that I applied elastics all around. And for my underbust seam, I decided to go for a thicker elastic so that I had more support. And this is what I'm doing here. And after that I went in with my 5mm elastic and also attached elastic to every side except for the top part of the top, so the top seam of our top, where we will sew in a second our tunnel. And of course I did the same for the bottom parts. I applied elastic on every seam I created, basically, and sewed everything with my zigzag stitch on my sewing machine. After that it was time to turn my top inside out, and for that I seam ripped a little opening in the side seam, and yeah, this is what that looked like. And I lost some footage, so I basically sewed with a straight stitch on my sewing machine a little tunnel. As you can see here, I just went in with my sewing machine, sewed with a straight stitch, a straight line, and since we kept the sides, the corners open, as you can see in my sketch, we have a perfect tunnel for our straps. And after that I closed the opening with a top stitch. After that I took my side parts of my top, and as you can see here I just folded it over once and created these little mini tunnels for the straps later on for the cross effect on the back. And I also sewed this in place with a straight stitch. And after that I sewed like 1 million straps and no kidding, I sewed 4 straps in total, which were 3 centimeters wide. I can't tell you how long they were, I just eyeballed that. And after I turned them inside out, I put them inside my front piece, as you can see here, and sewed everything together. After that I could turn the entire piece inside out, and this is again the front piece of my bottoms. And then I went in and put this entire thing inside my back piece of my bottoms. But before that I also attached the side straps the same way I did with the front piece. And yes, I'm just putting everything inside. Make sure that everything is inside, all the straps, everything, and then you make sure that your crotch areas are perfectly aligned, and then you sew the sides, leaving a little opening so that we can turn everything inside out again. Ta-da! After that I hand sewed the opening closed, and I took a safety pin and put 2 very, very long straps through my tunnels of my top piece, and then it was time to try it on, and I realized that the V part was way too big. So I went in and closed, or I made it a bit smaller. So my advice would be to not make the V part too deep, and you should be good.